So, the ultimate guide to jealousy. Why do I believe that? It sounds kind of ambitious, right? Well, the thing is, I have a method that can be applied to jealousy that hasn't been covered on YouTube yet, and I think it works really well. And so I want to share that with you. I'm a professional trainer in this method called NVC, so I think I can really help you with that. And also, what I did is I watched a shitload of videos on YouTube about jealousy, and I discovered that there's quite a few out there that might set you on the wrong foot in a sense that I see that a lot of videos don't make a distinction between envy and jealousy, and I believe that's very important. I think they need a different approach, and so I'm going to do that. Also, I see that a lot of videos still speak in a kind of derogatory way about jealousy, and that's really not going to help you. And so I'm going to talk about how you can change that as well in this video. And I see some videos who are just not very practical, and we're going to get really practical in this video as well. Now, I did see also some videos that do have very useful things, and so I'm also going to mention those in this video. Some things are from Law of Attraction, some things are just from my own experience, and so let's dive into it. So I will give you 5 steps to moving through your current jealousy and also preventing the intensity of it in the future. I don't want you to fully get rid of your jealousy because there's something behind it that has an important function for our survival. I'm going to talk about that as well. And so we don't want to get rid of it entirely. We just want to make sure that you can move through it quickly and easily every time. Now, I'm an expert in envy. When I was very young, when I was a child, I was always very envious of my friends who had more and other toys than I had because my parents were hippies and they gave me mostly wooden toys and stuff and no sugar and all of that. And I wanted to have Barbie doll houses and I wanted to have chocolate sprinkles on my bread, and I'm Dutch, so all of that. And in high school I also was always a bit in competition with my best friends. I loved them, and at the same time I felt this competition about looks, about boys, about grades, about attention, everything. And also when I was single for a long time, I was always jealous of other people having relationships. Until I met NVC, I discovered this method called NVC, and I learned how to really move through jealousy way more quickly. And nowadays, I feel like it's not bothering me anymore. I can just move through it very quickly. And so I want to teach you how to do that as well. Now, before we dive into the steps, there's one thing that's very important for you to change, which is that if you are calling yourself at this point in time a jealous person, then let's change that right now. Because if you believe you are a jealous person, it's going to be really hard to move through jealousy and still be a person, right? If you see it's like attached to you, to your personality, to your identity. And so let's say instead of I'm a jealous person, I feel jealousy more often than I would like, and I would like to learn to move through it. Right? That's it. Now, the type of jealousy that I'm going to talk about in this video is wanting what someone else has. And this is officially called envy, but because most people use the word jealousy and envy kind of like interchangeably, I will use those, both as well. But this video is focused on that kind of jealousy. There's another kind of jealousy where you are afraid to lose what you have. For example, you have a relationship and you're afraid to lose your guy to another woman or anything like that. And so I'm going to cover that in a separate video because it requires a different approach, as I said before, and I will link to it up above once it's ready. If you're very impatient, let me know in the comments and I will try to hurry up with that. So the first step is to start with the feeling that jealousy gives you, which is often shame. So check if that's the case for you. And so why is there shame? Well, jealousy is usually a fear of not getting what you want. Sometimes there's sadness, but then there's usually also the fear that you're not going to get it tomorrow, otherwise you wouldn't be sad. So there's this fear of not getting what you want. And usually when it comes to fear, we feel kind of compassion for that, right? We feel compassion for having some fear. But next to the fear, can be a few things. There can be blame towards the other person that has the thing. And so, there's something like, oh, why does she have to talk about her boyfriend all the time, or a perfect relationship, or a perfect business? Now I feel jealous because of that, right? And that's also where the word lucky bitch comes from. Why is a person who's lucky a bitch? Well, it's because we think that's what makes us get this fear, right? So there can be blame, and there can be also a bit of anger, which shows itself in a way of like thinking that, because the other person has it, you don't have it. So something like, if only that person would be, out of the picture, I would feel better. And so there's an anger saying something like, I don't want that person to have what they want. And we feel uncomfortable about that because there's another part of us that feels that we as a human tribe, we thrive, or we function even because we have care for how other people are doing. We care about other people's well-being, and that's why we don't, destroy them all the time, right? So when we feel that sense of wanting to destroy or wanting to something to be removed of a person that makes them happy, that feels uncomfortable. Now, it doesn't help that jealousy has been given such a bad reputation because of this by, the Bible calls it a sin. Shakespeare called it a green monster, which became really popular. And so that doesn't really help, right? And so let's address the shame. First, now maybe you heard already a bit through my words that jealousy is just fear. Fear of not getting what you want. Even if there's anger or like this destroying part, wanting to be aggressive even, this part is also just a fear that someone else is blocking you from getting what you want. So in the end, it's just fear. And that might also help you to see that you need softness rather than to be scolded by yourself or by other people. And also knowing that it's fear, you might start to see that it's part of our survival. We need to feel that, oh, this is something I need. This is something that I need. There's this big wish in us. And there's this reminder of, oh, we need that. We should go after that. We should try to find the relationship to be more safe. We should try to find more money. In a way, you could see it as finding food. It's like these really basic needs often that we feel jealous about. And so this is important for our survival to have this fear. And so you don't want to get rid of that. Now, shame tells yourself to hide. And the thing is that actually what helps with shame is to do the exact opposite, which is to bring it out in the open. And in this case, with jealousy, you can even tell, the best way actually is to tell the person, usually, let's say see what works for you, right? But I found the best way is just to tell it to the person that you're jealous of. Now, the way that you want to do that, and this is where NVC already comes in, because it's really helpful to do it in a way that ensures that you're going to get the reaction that's going to give you this softness and this sense of, no, I'm not going to be thrown out of the human tribe because of my wanting to destruct. I'm going to be accepted. And so this is how you not want to do it. So if you go to the person and you want to talk about your jealousy, don't say, you make me feel jealous with your skinny body. You make me feel jealous by talking about this and this. Then there's blame. And when the person hears that, you're not going to get the reaction that you want. Instead, you can say, when I see your success, your baby, your business, your looks, I feel jealous. There's jealousy inside of me because I would really like to trust that I can have that joy as well. Do you see how that's different? Do you see how the other person is completely removed out of this? And so when they hear this, it's way easier for them to feel compassion. Next thing you can do is to ask them to kind of stir their reaction a little bit, because when you feel uncomfortable, discomfort, right? Jealousy is discomfort. And another person hears that, they might start to feel uncomfortable as well. And they might want to reassure you like, oh, you look good as well. You look fine. You're not fat. Well, that usually doesn't help, right? When you feel jealous and when you're in this fear. So you want to stir it a little bit. So you could just say, can you relate to this feeling? Have you ever wanted something that someone else had as well? Would you give me a hug? Do you feel any compassion for this? Or if you feel safe to do it more general, you could just say, how is this to hear? All right. Now, what if you don't want to talk to the person? Or maybe they're famous and you can't even talk to them. In this case, what can be really helpful is to look at comedians. To look at comedians talking about the thing that you're ashamed of, in this case, envy or jealousy. And so the reason why that helps is that, first of all, comedians are very honest. So they're going to acknowledge anything that you're feeling. And when you hear other people laugh about it, a real audience, big audience, laugh about it, you know that they can relate to it as well. And so you know that you're part of this human tribe. You're the same as the rest of the human tribe. And so this can really reassure you in your shame, and it can make it a lot softer and lighter. So we dealt with the shame. Now let's move to the actual jealousy. And so I have three techniques actually of moving through the jealousy. And depending on your personality, your preference, one of them might work better for you, or you might just want to try all of them. So step 2 is to apply the technique of NVC on your jealousy. And so what NVC says is that we don't want so much the thing that we're jealous of, but we want the needs that we think it would meet to be met. So in life, ultimately, we don't want a lot of money. We want to have a sense of stability. We want to have choice about what we can get. We want to have ease and safety. We don't want so much a relationship as we want a sense of being loved and to give love and to have sensuality and fun and togetherness and all the other things that relationship can bring. We don't even want babies, children, so much as we want, again, to give and receive love, to have a sense of purpose, a sense of continuity of life, fun, all that kind of things. And now I'm not saying that all those things, the money, the baby, the relationship, the success in work, aren't important. I mean, they're hugely important for our happiness. All I'm saying is that these happen to be strategies that meet a lot of needs. So it's a really easy way to have a lot of needs met. So we don't want what the other person has. We just want to have all our needs met. And so what you need to do is to find out what are your needs behind this thing that you want, that you're jealous of. And the easiest way to do so is just to look at a sheet with human needs. I have those. You can actually download it for free if you click here. So after clicking and downloading the sheet, what you're going to do is just to look at the sheet, look at the needs, and instead of going really rational and thinking like, oh, it probably should be this or something, just try to see if your body reacts to it, see what you're attracted to. And you're just going to write down those needs, and then you're going to cherish them. You're really going to hold them holy in a way, by just writing them down on a post-it, putting it on the background of your phone, building an altar for it. You can make a song about it. You can paint them on your bike. Do whatever creativity you have, or keep it very simple and just put reminders in your phone with the need. And then you're going to do that for a while. And at some moment, you're going to notice that you're ready for the next step. And the next step is to brainstorm small ways in which you could get those needs met already. And so maybe for each need, there needs to be a strategy to have that need met. And if you do that, what's going to happen is that you're going to get your power back. That's the best thing you can do when there's fear, just to acknowledge the fear first, and then to see, where is my power? How can I empower myself? And so you're going to trust again that you're able to fulfill your needs in life, and that's going to help you to move through the jealousy. So to summarize it, find the needs behind what you want. Make sure that you get empowered about, trusting that you can really meet those, and you will move through the jealousy and forward with your life. So step 3 is to look at what law of attraction has to say. And so law of attraction also says that we don't want the thing itself so much, but we want joy, we want well-being. We're always striving in the end for joy, in the widest sense of the word, right? It's more like well-being. And what law of attraction says is that if you are joyful now, before even having the thing, not only will you not need the thing as much, right? It will be kind of an unconditional joy, but it will actually, ironically, also be more likely that you're going to get it. Because when you're joyful, you're not going to block the thing from coming in with thoughts of doubt or insecurity, etc. So law of attraction says you can keep focusing on the specific thing that you want. If you want the car, you want this particular job, or you want this particular guy, you can keep focusing on that, as long as you got to make sure that your journey towards it is joyful. Now, one way to have a joyful journey is to have trust that you're going to reach the destination. If you think it's going to take forever to walk somewhere and it's going to be endless, it's not very joyful, right? And now there is this thing with trust in human beings. The tricky thing with trust is that we often think that the only way we're going to have trust that the thing will come is for it to actually be there already now. That's kind of cute, right? But it's just because of the way that, we operate in a certain time-space reality. We have certain senses that can only see and can only process things that are right in front of us right now. That's the way we function, right? And so that's why it can be kind of hard for us to trust something that has not materialized yet. So when I was single, I realized at some point that if someone would be able to tell me that in 6 months of time I would have a relationship for sure, like 100% sure, I would have felt good immediately, where I didn't feel good before. And I would have even liked it that it wouldn't be there right away. But I did want it right away because I wasn't trusting that it would come in 6 months. Now, this way of dealing with trust is problematic because imagine that this is how it would go. Whenever you would want something, you would get it right away. So imagine that right now you would get all of the success in your life that you would ever have. And you would get all of the people that you ever want to talk to right now in front of you. All of the people that you ever want to make out with, you ever want to have sex with, all right now. Everything that you ever want to buy, every gift you ever want to receive, you're going to get it right now. You wouldn't be able to process this, right? Just we're not that good with change, really. And so this is problematic. I will give you another more bit realistic example of that. In my previous work as a journalist, I wasn't earning as much as I wanted. And so I had this active wish of wanting more money. Then a few years ago, my income tripled over the time of, I think, like a few months. And so you would think that I would be happy now. Now I got the money. But I wasn't. I was freaked out. And it took me 3 months and a therapy session to start to trust that I could handle large sums of money. Now, if you try to skip the journey and get to the destination, it's not always a happy, a joyful destination, because there might be still thoughts in you that you haven't overcome. So, for example, with a love relationship, you might start to be afraid to lose the person, or you might start to doubt, is it the right one, right? And for example, with money, there might be, again, fear of losing it, or there might be being afraid that people are envious of you, or being afraid that you cannot deal with the money like I had. And so, if you have a journey, this will help you to deal with those things that can be popping up, and it will make the destination more joyful. By the way, this doesn't mean when I say journey, it sounds like it's going to take a year or something, but the journey could be like 3 seconds, right? So it just depends on where you are. It depends on how joyful and free of those thoughts you are already. Now, how to apply this? Well, one easy way to have trust without seeing the thing manifest in reality for you is to see it manifesting with other people. And now this is interesting, right? Because when you're jealous, this is exactly what you saw. You already have at least one person that you know it manifested for. And so I got this trick from Andrea Schulman and I really loved it. So what you're going to do, I did this for myself. 5 years ago, I really wanted a baby. And I was in a relationship, but the guy didn't want a baby. And I was really, like intense with my wish. I really wanted this to happen. I was even looking for donors. I think I had almost had someone that maybe wanted to do it. I had a contract already looked up. So I was very, very serious with it. But whenever I saw babies or I saw, pregnant women, I didn't really feel joyful. And so then I started to apply this thing of seeing those babies and seeing those pregnant bellies as things that I had manifested, that I had already started to create the thing coming on its way to me. Now, this might sound weird, but what it does, and what it did for me, is that you're going to see the thing popping up, and you're going to be focused on it in a positive way. It's going to make you happy, because now for me, every time when I saw a belly or a baby, I was like, bingo. It was like playing bingo, like, I got one more. I wouldn't recommend going up to the mother saying that you created the baby. Wouldn't do that. But just for yourself, and to think for yourself that, all you need to do now is to get a bit more specific with your creation and create it for yourself. And so I had joy in the journey again. I had relaxation. And so now, no, I'm kidding. I don't have a baby. No, what happens for me is that I got relaxed. And then this insight came to me, which is that, even though I could raise a baby on my own, I think I would be able to do it. It wasn't joyful. I found out that it was not going to be joyful for me. And so the wish left me in a very gentle way. And it was a very soft process, actually. And so that's, this is funny because right now I would like to have a baby, but it's going to be in another video. There's another way to have more trust, and there's also a third way to really deal with your jealousy, and I'm going to cover those in my next video. But let me know for now which of the method that I mentioned, so the NVC, needs to look into that, or to really look into how you're manifesting already. Let me know in the comments, and also if you have questions or you get stuck on anything, please let me know. Also share this video with anyone you think might be useful for, and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you really want to see right away when a second video pops up, and also if you want to be notified whenever I publish something. I'm online for a few hours, so you can chat with me live, and I'm looking forward to that. All right, see you next time. Ciao.